This podcast is rated S for spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Don't forget to view our spoiler-free companion video on our Half Past Podcast channel on YouTube. Welcome to the Half Past Podcast. This is episode 37, the movie review of Captain America Civil War. We will also be discussing the X-Men Apocalypse trailer. I'm Graham Ricks, and here with me is my friend and co-pilot, Ian Jones.
You know, just to be really confusing, I showed up in that shirt where Iron Man is punching Captain America's shield. Just because I didn't want anyone to know which side I was really on. Hashtag Spider-Man side. But
okay. That's fantastic.
Oh.
We have a guest here today.
Hello again, everybody.
Mark Levy's back.
Hey, Mark.
Hey. It's like there's a trend to which kind of movies I'll show up
Yes.
for.
Yeah, right?
The really good ones.
Yeah.
All right, so our trailer for this week is the X-Men Apocalypse, so let's go ahead and get into this one. The first thing I want to say is that it looks awesome, because it does, and I'm really excited about seeing it. I'm really enjoying the fact that I can see Oscar Isaac again, because he's awesome. He's just blowing up, man, and he's so awesome, and I love how he's acting in this one. He just owns it, and I hope that that carries through the whole movie. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'll bet they're wishing they didn't kill him off in that last Bourne movie. Because we've talked about this before. He was so close to being the next Jason Bourne.
Yeah, he was.
But it went to Jeremy Renner.
Mm.
One thing that I thought was awesome is there's that one scene where he's talking and his voice mutates from normal sounding to Apocalypse voice.
Yep.
And all it does is remind me of how it sounded in the 90s cartoon.
Yeah, right?
They got it exact.
They got it exactly. Oh, it's just so awesome. I actually can't wait for this one. It's going to be awesome, man. The only other thing is, I have a question for you guys. How much of Wolverine do you think we'll actually get in this one?
0.
What?
I don't think...
He'll show up. He's in the end of the credits.
He's in the end of the credits, man. Or the end of the trailer, yeah. Did you not see the latest trailer?
No, I guess I didn't.
Oh, damn. See, I asked you before we started recording.
Okay, hang on. You guys move forward.
The trailer.
Just shut up and move forward.
I'm good. I'm golden.
Yeah, I'm good. I can talk X-Men all day.
I've seen a trailer.
Yes, he's at the end of the trailer.
God damn it.
The very end. They're just like, well, we had some help. So I'm curious, is it just going to be that scene, or are we going to get another portion of the movie?
I'm positive it's just in that scene.
I am 100% positive also. I just
end.
don't think it's going to go past that scene, which is such a kind of annoying thing. Like, what's going to happen to where Wolverine's just not going to be there for Apocalypse? That's just weird, right? But I know how that works with their cameos and trying to freaking pay people. So it's fine, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Whatever.
What the heck is your problem over there?
That's probably just him running down that hallway, and that's all you see of him.
Oh, wouldn't it be terrible if it's not even Hugh Jackman? You just see that.
Yeah.
You just see the arm.
Just like Snow White in the last one. Well, we had some help. We hit this release button, and Weapon X ran out and just stabbed everyone.
Maybe it's X-23.
And then the Huntsman. You're talking about the Huntsman where they completely avoid Kristen Stewart, but they had the body double.
But they had the body double for one scene, just to marry the movies together.
It's so terrible, man.
Thanks, Bryan Singer.
Is there anything else you guys have for this trailer?
No, I'm just definitely looking forward to it. It looks fun.
Yes.
All right. Let's take a little break here, and then we're going to get into the characters. Marvel interference in the Avengers' activities causes a rift between former allies Captain America and Iron Man. This movie is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, the Russo brothers, who are absolutely awesome. They did The Winter Soldier, which was just a fantastic movie. They are also hugely involved with Arrested Development and got an Emmy for it, and the TV show Community. So they are just like awesome. So
nice. Well, that's a good. I would use that word too, but only because I use it for everything. So this bagel is awesome.
Nice. They're real talented, and we're also going to get them for the Infinity War or whatever coming up here. So it's great to see them coming up.
Yeah, and one thing, like, besides just the Marvel movies, like all the projects you mentioned, they're all ensemble casts.
Yes.
And this movie certainly reminiscent of that, and then looking forward to the two Avengers movies where they're like saying we're going to throw everything in the Marvel universe into two films.
Yep.
I don't doubt that they can handle it and not just overshadow someone. Say, oh, you had your cameo.
You had your cameo.
Well,
done.
Yeah, Hawkeye. You had your cameo. That would be the one character.
So he's starring Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Falcon, Don Cheadle as Lieutenant James Rhodes, Rhodey Rhodes from War Machine, Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton / Hawkeye, and then we got a new guy here, Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa or Black Panther, who I thought did actually a pretty good job considering. Especially since the last movie we saw him in was awful, Jones.
Okay. Are we gonna come back to that, or because you mentioned, isn't this guy playing Black Panther when we watched that terrible Gods of Egypt movie? And
Gods of Egypt.
He's like, I danced around it, but he's incredibly effeminate in that.
Yes,
movie.
He's very effeminate.
God, I wonder if that's just how he is. Or not, but I forgot. I watch him all the time on this show called Bosch, and he isn't like that. So
no, he's actually more of like a character actor. So he's done like a ton of different types of completely different characters. Because he also did he was like James Brown in that James Brown movie. Oh. So it's just like like he just does a lot of different roles. So I guess it works. Paul Bettany as the Vision, Elizabeth Olsen, the better Olsen, from as Wanda Maximoff and Scarlet Witch. We get Paul Rudd back in here as Scott Lang / Ant-Man. And we also have another new guy here, Tom Holland, as Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Huh?
That's a huge deal. I think maybe a lot of people don't realize what a big deal that is for him to be under their control again.
Yeah, it is absolutely fantastic that they managed to get a deal going with that. I've been saying that for years about how I don't like how they're all split up and they should join in together, and all these companies need to get some lawyers and freaking figure it out. And they actually did it in this one, so I was really happy about it. It's just great. Anything else for these characters? Anybody have any more comments?
Or are you done? There's not more?
No. Do you need more? That is 12 characters, man.
We can't talk about Spider-Man's incredibly hot aunt. Actually, you know what? No, let's save that. I'll come back. I'll circle back to that.
All right, so that's all the characters for now. We'll go ahead and get into the best part of the podcast, which is the quirks and likes.
All right.
So we'll take a break. All right, now we're back with our quirks and likes section. We'll go ahead and start with my quirks, which is none. So,
whoa!
Wow!
Whoa!
So my question for everybody is: does anybody have any quirks? Because, or are we just gonna gush into this movie?
I have 4 quirks.
Okay,
I've got 5.
I have 1, and it's such a nitpicky little thing that I don't even care really. The only thing I thought was weird about this movie is I thought that the title cards were really weird.
That's my first one.
Yeah, it was really strange to see him up there and pop up. Now, the thing is like I was thinking about it the whole time, every time they pop up, because they pop up a lot in the movie. And the thing that I kind of let go on it is the fact that I think it's a way to explain how global this problem is. And that's the only way I can justify them doing these title cards, so people know that all these countries are being affected. And that's the only thing that I have for that. Like, otherwise I don't understand why it's there, because when you go to a different locale, you don't necessarily need to tell people that you've been to a different locale.
So when we look at that mid-credit scene with Cap and Black Panther, why didn't I see a giant Wakanda go across the screen?
Right? So it's
I just
like
had to figure that out.
It was a weird thing for them to do that. And that's really my only little thing, and that's such like a nitpicky thing, but it definitely is distracting.
I mean, you figure that in the comic books they would have had the little title, the little boxes. But they wouldn't be, like, in your face like that.
Yeah, it took up the entire screen.
Like, they wouldn't take up a whole damn panel with Amsterdam or whatever.
Right? So I feel like one of the biggest problems is the fact that it's so gigantic. It's like if it was just, like, at the bottom, this is where it's at. It probably wouldn't have been that bad. But it's like, bam, in your face.
Here's a possible rule of thumb I think they should use. The size of your location titles should not be larger than the size of the font used to tell who the cast is at the end of the movie.
That works. I'm okay with that rule.
They were of sufficient size to be read anywhere in the movie theater.
Yes. Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. That was my biggest problem with this movie, oddly enough. And I'm hoping you guys can pick me up. Maybe you can explain some more stuff. Maybe I forgot it because I was just gushing over Spider-Man the whole time.
I can. Well,
so, what do you got, Jones?
Okay, the first one, and this is a big one with me, is the Zemo character really got under my skin. And he's such a big part of this movie in such a stupid way. That, the idea that someone so inconsequential could pull the wool over everyone's eyes and make all of this happen. Like, everything has to line up perfectly for him to build a giant electromagnetic bomb, for him to, like, position himself to get close enough to the Winter Soldier. And, and they explain it by, this was all Black Widow's doing when she did that information dump. So, basically, because Captain America did the right thing and Black Widow did the right thing, Civil War happened. It doesn't happen without it. So essentially they just completely threw the Winter Soldier under the bus by their own actions.
Yeah.
Which I think people aren't really connecting. But I mean, that's basically what drove this entire thing.
All right.
And I think it needed to be something like, that character's bigger in the comic books. It needed to be something else. It wasn't.
He's a character. He's a character I know about, big enough that there have been 2 people to play that. In the comics, there have been 2 people to take over the Zemo persona.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure none of it has to do with anything we saw in this movie.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So that was, so for me, that's a big thing. Something else too is that there was nothing Thanos related to any of this movie, which I think to me feels like a step backwards.
Okay.
If Thanos was responsible for Ultron, shouldn't he have been responsible for maybe them breaking up so he can get that stone off of Vision's head?
I think what you saw in that one scene where he's trying to figure out that stone's all we need to connect.
Okay, all right. Well,
to connect the other movie to the
fair.
other.
I was about to say, finally, a movie without a... Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah.
We had
Okay, so I was about to say it earlier, but super hot Aunt May is a little unnerving to me.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose to
Foxy
use
Aunt
Marissa
May.
Tomei.
It's just like, oh
Why did they
wow.
use-
because she's an appropriate age for a young high school student.
It's just
so
like,
ridiculous.
wow.
Marissa Tomei, like, she's aged very well. She looks fantastic.
let's go.
It's just so weird.
It's just, I really want to hang out with Spider-Man now. Okay, let's go back to your house, Peter.
You're just like,
Uh,
you're really not. All the other Aunt Mays like have not looked like that.
no, they've never come close to looking like that.
No, and so it's such a crazy thing for that to happen in this movie. But I was okay with it. I was like, I think it's weird that they chose Marissa Tomei, but I guess it works.
You know what's weird? Because for several movies with her playing that role now, how are they supposed to explain why there's not going to be a new uncle in the picture?
That's
true.
Yes.
Oh man, I thought that was such a weird thing.
I think Mark just stumbled onto something though.
What?
Like in a bad way, where like the Green Goblin ends up dating her or something. Oh no! Spoiler alert. Okay,
Didn't she date Dr. Octopus in the comics once?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, I don't.
There's no way I'd know that.
That would be awesome now, but I won't get into why.
Nice.
So I guess the last thing is, this. Well, I've got two things. So we'll get to the first one, which is kind of a silly one. But that airport fight, which I loved.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't have, like, it was really cool and everything, but couldn't it have just been a giant dance-off competition too? Like,
what?
Because like it didn't seem like they were trying to
like take each other out.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think they address that.
They definitely address it.
They do address it, but I don't know. It just feels to me like they could have just done an impartial dance competition.
The thing is you don't really get. Through the whole movie, you kind of don't get, and they're fighting each other for quite a while in this movie, and you don't really get that in this movie, and I think that's probably a good thing, because they're still friends, so they know that they need to subdue each other, but not necessarily kill each other, which they could do. And I think, like Mark was saying, that all the quips kind of addresses it. And that's why I feel like it's just like, okay, because they're acknowledging the fact that it's happening. The same thing with the Marissa Tomei thing. Like, freaking Tony Stark's just like, bam. Like, he's just like all over it and making a huge deal about how hot she is. Right. So, like, the movie's acknowledging these things. And I think that that's what sets it apart and makes it okay.
And when you really look back at all of the Marvel Universe, with the exception of maybe Bucky in Winter Soldier,
yeah,
when they fight the villains, they don't arrest the villains. They all die.
Yeah.
They all fight until the villain dies, with the exception of Loki, and we know why he survives. So it's almost like the first time where we're watching him, and it's like, no, you're really not trying to kill anybody here.
Yeah, right.
Which is such a cop.
Interesting.
That's such a cop out with those other movies, too.
Yeah,
no, but even the grunts in the opening scene, it's like, there's Captain America and there's Falcon pulling out guns and shooting the bad guys. It's like, but throughout the movie, there's Cap, like, very intentionally, he's not trying to take out the agents that came to subdue him and Bucky.
Yeah.
So it's like we had to watch them in action in a slightly different light, but now it was all of them in that scene.
Yep. All right. You done, Jones?
The last thing was, so this ended differently than Civil War, right? It didn't end with Cap getting a bullet in the head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which
we actually talked about. You were saying that, he might be gone.
He might be gone for a while because there are other Captain Americas to pick up the shield.
Yeah.
So I guess I was kind of pleasantly surprised about it, but the way that the movie ended, to me, almost felt like none of it mattered because they're just going to get back together anyway.
Yep, I totally agree with you on that. It's almost as if the entire movie doesn't matter because they were pretty much in the same spot where we started. There was no real progression from beginning to the end of the movie. There wasn't a lot anyway.
You guys have read comic books, right?
Yes, we get it. We totally get it.
It's just like it didn't have like an Empire Strikes Back sort of ending, I guess, which is kind of what I was thinking might happen.
Yeah, something that has because that one has a very somber, and you're just like, wow, it kind of punches you in the gut.
But look at how many movies are coming out, but for Marvel specifically between now and Infinity War #1 or whatever they're changing the title to.
Yeah.
You've got your Doctor Strange, you've got a standalone Black Panther movie, I think, is coming out before. What I'm saying is I think there's enough story that's going to be told in this world between now and the next Avengers movie that you can't end it on a note specifically to set up what will bring them back later.
Okay.
Because too much other stuff has to happen.
That's understandable.
Just a thought.
All right.
That's
anything
it for
else?
Me. No.
All right, Mark. You said you got some. Let's hear it.
All right. The top left quadrant of my screen was tinted blue. The whole movie.
What?
I don't know. I think there was something wrong with the bulb in their projector.
Bullshit.
You didn't get free tickets?
Nah. Well, because we got out of the movie theater close to 1 a.m.
Oh, that sucks. Usually when something like that happens, they will come out and be like, apologize and give everybody free tickets to like just, whatever. That's crazy.
So it was noticeable throughout the whole thing. And I don't blame the Russo brothers for it, but the other question is, and this is not a bad quirk by any means, but is this really a Captain America movie, or is this like Avengers 2.5?
It feels like Avengers 2.5.
He may barely have more screen time than Iron Man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I love that everyone got a good dose of screen time, but
they did.
It did not feel at points I had to remind myself, oh, wait, this is a Captain America movie.
Well, I mean, it was really about Cap finding Bucky, but I guess that wasn't entirely what I expected either. At the end of Winter Soldier, I almost felt like they were going to go off and have this other adventure to reel Bucky in.
Yeah.
Just from like how that ended,
But when they dedicated real time at the end of the movie to be like, well, now we got to show what's going on with, what's the condition that we find Rhodey in and Tony Stank and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, that was a good couple minutes, not a, oh, look, he's going to learn to walk again kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I loved it, but to me, this was like Avengers 3.
Yeah, it definitely felt that way, and it's kind of strange, but I was kind of okay with it. Really, the only Avengers you don't get is Thor and Hulk, who
would have ended that fight in moments.
Right? And so it's definitely predominantly an Avengers movie. That's what it feels like. And then when you toss in Spider-Man in the mix, it feels even more like an Avengers movie. So, yeah, I get it.
And one thing that I was just thinking of, actually, after Ian, you mentioned the whole, there was no Thanos cameo or anything like that, is I actually really enjoy the more movies we get that don't link to that, because it just increases the chances that people will have faith that after the Infinity War movies, there's still good stories to be told.
That's good.
You know what I mean? If we don't always have to rely on him being the motive.
Well, I agree with you there, Mark, but, there's, 40, 50 years of Avengers stories and even more Spider-Man and some of these other guys to go back to.
Final quirk I have and this isn't the first movie that did it, it just reminded me, is I miss a slightly bulkier Iron Man costume.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have gotten extremely streamlined to the point where you'd think, only an emaciated person would fit inside that suit to pilot it around. It's got to be 3 millimeters thicker than Tony Stark. But, when you look at him the way he is in, like, the first 2 standalone Iron Man movies, the suit had more bulk to it.
Yeah, there's more mass to the suit.
But now, and I get it, Captain America's supposed to be a big guy, but Captain America stands broader than Iron Man in his costume. So they're getting so streamlined in the design. I actually want, like, he's switching suits so much. Like, have a streamlined one and then have your bigger one for whatever reason. Not counting Veronica or whatever they called Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
But that was last work. Good performance and all that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the likes then. My first like is Spider-Man is awesome as hell in this movie. He shows up and just takes over the movie, and it's awesome. He,
Yeah.
he's a lot of the funny parts in this movie is from him, and he shows up towards the end of it. So it's so crazy. I just love the way he shows up, and one of my favorite scenes is when freaking Ant-Man finally does the other thing where he gets larger, and I love Spider-Man's like, holy shit! Like, it was just so perfect. And I love how he's just chatting with everybody through the whole thing, and everybody's really kind of getting annoyed with him. It's just such a great sequence of events with him in there, and it's so great. His character comes out so well in this movie. I don't understand why we haven't really gotten that from the other movies, but he just is just awesome at this one.
Yeah, I thought he was real spectacular.
Right. And I really like, too, the little nod to both of them being from New York.
Yeah, right?
And that he tells his aunt that he got into a fight with, a kid from the Bronx, but he got his looks in.
Yeah,
I just thought that's Marvel right there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's those two characters.
A kid from Brooklyn, you mean?
Brooklyn, yeah, the Bronx. That kid from Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was such a great thing. They did such a really good job tossing him in there, and like it didn't. The thing is it felt so fluid too, because it didn't seem forced. And that's one thing that I really liked about this movie overall is the way they introduced some of these new characters and tossed them all in was very fluid. So the way they handled this amazingly large amount of characters, which we all counted through here, there's 12 characters in this movie, and they all come in so fluidly, and I just love how they did it. I like how they throw in Scott Lang just kind of out of nowhere, and it's he's just like in the back of the van
asleep.
Oh, and it's so good. The way they introduced Black Panther, I thought was really good too, because since he's like getting a movie here in a little while, it's really awesome that they kind of gave him a little more screen time, and they did it like weaved in throughout the movie without being like forced. So they did like just an excellent job on doing that, and I loved it. The other thing that I have is I absolutely love the choreography of the fighting throughout the whole movie. I love the fact that these guys were teaming up and doing team attacks. They did the really cool Hawkeye and Ant-Man thing with the arrow, which has happened in comics before.
Oh yeah.
And just the sharing of Captain America's shield. It's just, everything was just great. And just gushing over the action scenes in this movie. They're just great. Everything is just great. I love it. And I'm going to go ahead, before I go on more of a tangent, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys start saying your likes before I start taking people's likes. So let's go ahead and get into Ian's likes. Let's go ahead.
Well, there were a lot of little things that I really enjoyed, like Scarlet Witch and Vision cooking together.
Oh, that was such a great little scene.
You know,
Yeah.
like I'd like to see more of that without it making me want to puke. So that's sort of a fine balance. But one thing that I really liked is every additional character to me came in and added something.
Right.
Which I don't think I can say about like any of these other kind of movies.
Yeah, they did such a good job with that.
Yeah. So that was a big thing for and I didn't care much at all for Ant-Man, the actual movie, but I really liked him here.
Yeah.
In this.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
Did you like it?
I liked Ant-Man also. I think I remember when we did that podcast, I think you said like borderline see it.
I really wanted to not say see it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened, and I was definitely see it. I thought it was really good.
Mainly, my issue there was how they handled Yellow Jacket.
Yes, I remember that.
In the most generic way possible. So anyway, but I thought this was much better. I think as far as Scott Lang goes and Paul Rudd as that character, I really like seeing him as it, and he came out here. And I have no sympathy for General Ross. I hate that character so much that I love to hate him. But like he never does anything. Like just once, I want to see that miserable human being do something good. And he just never does. It's like,
yeah,
but he's basically a villain.
But he is a villain.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see her as much as I was hoping for, but Agent 13 turning out to be, like Sharon Carter, I thought was kind of weird because in the original Avengers movie, he goes and finds her and she's a waitress somewhere.
Yeah.
She's blonde and she's a waitress. So, but, sometimes that doesn't all...
What?
Yeah, they cut it out, but there's a blonde who's getting interviewed.
The girl who used to be in Growing Pains. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. So, and that's who her niece was supposed to be. Like, he looked her up to go and find her. And that sort of all changed when they did the Winter Soldier.
Yes, they did.
But, the other thing I like, and then I'll pass it over to Mark, is this... There's kind of a forced kiss there, which really made me roll my eyes. But the thing that saves it is Bucky and Falcon's reaction. Like I can watch that scene over and over again to see their reaction. Like they're both perfect. Like they're both totally in character.
Yeah, it was like the cut to them was awesome.
It might be the best thing in the movie.
That had such a good reaction in our theater.
Yeah, it did in my theater too.
Plus, they're just crammed into that little car too. It's just, I don't know, it's great. Like I can't, like the whole thing really just slapped a smile on my face.
Yeah, it's great.
So, all right.
I agree, man. There's a lot of little stuff in this movie that just makes you smile. There's just a ton of that in this movie, and that really helps it out.
All right, I want to hear what Mark has to say.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Last thing to just tie into what you had brought up about just how amazing Spider-Man was is with being able to skip the entire origin story, which I love that we were not going to have to go through it again.
Yeah.
Is so many little things about Spider-Man fans will be able to pick up on. Like, it's I think the first time in the movies he generated his own webs. Not develop the shooter, but he has to order them from Oscorp, like an Amazing Spider-Man. Iron Man even says, like, oh, I love the tensile strength on this thing that you developed, kind of thing. And just, it's like a throwaway line, but to a Spider-Man fan could be like such a huge, like a little nod.
Yeah.
So all little things like that I just thought really brought it together. But another like that I have, and this is, I don't know if I've said it in one of the other podcasts I was here for, it's like I'm not a Marvel or a DC fanboy. I like them both. I don't favor one over the other, but seeing as how very recently we saw another franchise tell a good guy versus good guy movie, this is how you tell that story without having to make it depressing and moody to justify why
Yeah.
One will turn on the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is major events took place to make all this happen, but you can lighten the mood a little bit. And
Yeah.
if I'm a parent, I don't feel I can bring my child to see a Superman movie, yet this, I don't know when's the appropriate age, but the point is, this is far superior storytelling.
Yes.
And I really hope, I hope that DC and Warner Brothers' motive is to not play catch up. Just do your own stories the way you need to, because the other one's not working out well enough, I would say. But Marvel,
and we know they're there. We know DC can do this better.
Yes, they can.
They just, and I don't know, maybe they just need to start stealing some of the same people. But the stories are there for them to be able to do this, which is what's so frustrating when you have such iconic characters like Batman and Superman and you can't figure them out. Now, I did really like that version of Batman, but...
No, I completely agree. But it's like, use your resources. Look at the people you have telling your animated movies, DC. They're in that world. They're the people telling the stories are from the comic book universe. The people telling the movies are movie makers.
Yeah.
And I'm not nitpicking any one group of people or saying one's better than the other, but use your resources you have at your disposal, because they were there.
Right. It's the same thing. It's a different way of presenting it, but it is still the same creative process.
Yeah.
So
the last thing that I had specific notes on that I wanted to make sure I brought up was just, I loved the closing credit animations, the way they were playing with the shadows on all the actors. I mean, Marvel always does like a fairly unique method of doing their closing credits and how they're animated in all sorts of different ways. So it's always something to look forward to, but I really, really dug it in this movie.
Yeah, it was really cool how they were messing with the shadows to make it look like it would have the name up there and it would look like the wings for Falcon or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, anything else?
Now back to you, sir.
All right, so I guess we're just going to go ahead and rate this one then. So, I think everybody knows how much I gushed over this movie. I absolutely loved everything about it. I think it has just a ton of great action. It's really fun. It's really entertaining. The story is so solid. They intertwine these characters so beautifully, and they handled everything just so well. And I think it's just such a great step toward the future for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so I'm going to say see it, buy it.
I will also say see it, buy it. It's just a fantastic movie, I think, overall. And right as I left, I wanted to turn around and see it again.
I did too, man.
So, and I felt the same way leaving Star Wars, too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, look at that line of people and say F you to them. I will say, because there is almost a throwaway line where Black Widow says to the Winter Soldier, and I'm wondering if you guys picked up on this, too. Like, they're fighting in that commissary area or wherever it is in that building.
Yeah.
And she says something like, can't you at least pretend to remember me or something like that?
Oh,
Does anyone remember that line? Because I would love to see a Bucky Black Widow movie. That would just be awesome. Because they're married in the comic book. It's just, I thought that was a really odd little scene.
I don't remember what she said, but I do.
Yeah, I can't remember
something.
the exact line. It's funny that you mentioned Star Wars because I love that Empire Strikes Back scene also. Hey, did you ever see that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back?
That we now have rights to?
That we now have rights to.
I can't believe that didn't come up until just now. So yeah, see it, buy it. That was awesome. We have rights to it, so...
I think they did just announce their plans for a standalone Black Widow film.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I don't know where in the pipeline they're going to squeeze it in, but they did finally make some announcement, I think.
All right. That seems
just in
fun.
the last few days.
Cool.
But not to, repeat everyone else, but absolutely see it, buy it, rewatch it. Just go to a theater with a better projector. I don't think there's anything to not love. The minute this is available, it'll be added to my collection.
Yep, same here. It's just way too good. It's such a good freaking movie.
Now, listen to how Mark said that. The minute it's available, this will be added to my collection. Because that, to me, means something else.
Nice.
I know I'm going to steal this damn movie. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't say that. Who ran over here and said that into my microphone?
Oh, fantastic.
We do not support... We do not condone ripping off movies.
Half Past Podcast does not condone
Okay, there we
ripping
go.
off movies.
Yar.
Legalese. Yar. All right. Yeah.
All right, now that we're done, I guess we're going to sign out here. So, God, I'm so happy we managed to get this one not so long.
Really? Because I can talk and talk and talk right now. Like
No. We're signing out.
All right.
Oh.
Aw.
If anybody wants to contact us, if anybody likes to contact us, we're always at our home on the web, halfpastpodcast.com.
Take two, jerk. Like us on Facebook.
Rate us on iTunes and on Google Play. That's
Google
right. Android
Play.
users are ours now.
Those idiots. They don't know what they did. We're on Stitcher and Libsyn.
Email us at halfpastcast@gmail.com. That's halfpastcast@gmail.com. If you were gushing over this movie, send us some emails.
Yes, tweet us at halfpastpodcast.
Thank you for listening and thank you for your support. Our next movie is...
Wait a minute, that can't be right. There aren't other movies between then and now, and this is what we have to look forward to?
Yes, it's Angry Birds.
Oh, no. Well, I know what I'm seeing next weekend.
I know,
Go
right?
back and see that.
Civil War again.
I'm just going to watch
I'm just
Civil
gonna
War
watch
again.
it 2 more times.
Yep, that's all that's
Screw
going to
it.
happen. Yep, Angry Birds is our next movie. It's in 3 weeks. It comes out like May 20th, so it's going to be, it's like
How
3
can
weeks
that
from
be?
now. There's like nothing, man. It's such a weird thing. There is the movie called like The Nice Guys. I
Yes.
was wondering if you wanted to do that.
I
one.
do
you
wanna
want to do that one? Okay,
yeah.
so that one, the problem is that one's the same day, so that might be a double weekend.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, man.
You sound so annoyed by having to do 2 in 1 weekend.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
We'll definitely we'll see what we can do. We'll talk about that one. But I definitely am gonna this next couple weekends. I'm gonna watch Captain America: Civil War again because it was freaking awesome. Oh man, this is the Half Past Podcast. I'm Graham Ricks.
Jonesy.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mark.
It's a big summer with lots of fun movies coming out. I will be back.
Yep. All right.
Nice.
See you next flick.
Nice.
Bye.
Oh.